Hello, what is up guys? Jinxin here, and a while ago people have been asking me about the sword in one build from a short video that I did, so I thought I should get on with it and finish the video. And for those who haven't watched the video, the build is mostly about trying to integrate Dark Apostasy Mastery node into the damage rotation. Dark Apostasy severely underperforms, especially in PvE, but I find it to be useful when paired with Roar Amplifier Mastery node from Sword and Shield, and it turns out to be a pretty good synergy, and works great when doing open world dungeon, although single target damage still kinda sucks. So without further ado, here is my setup. And I use Dagon Sword mostly because it allows your shield throw to hit multiple times, if there are more than one target nearby you. Although in a single target case, it won't work very well because it does not deflect on the same target, so you will end up hitting your target only once instead of 7 times. Codex of Deep Secrets is also pretty good for PvE because it has that species damage, even if you don't use Corrupt Magic Circle for the weapon's unique effect. The rest of my gear pieces, I just use whatever I had from my last build, since I'm kinda broke and I need a ton of growth stones to upgrade everything. As for artifacts, the Chaos set is pretty much best in slot for every DPS build. So moving on to weapon mastery stuff, Roar Amplifier is recommended because it's way easier to just proc it by hitting anything, compares to having to use your cleaving roar every time. Although the only downside is that Roar Amplifier would kinda nerf your spectrum of agony damage in exchange for easier proc. I also don't recommend getting the Devoted Strike Mastery node because you have to use Fierce Clash to apply the collision CC, which is bad when grinding open world dungeon or when fighting bosses. As for one, Dark Apostasy is of course very needed in the build, and you can probably remove Malicious Intent if you want a bit more survivability. Vampiric Onslaught is also very important because it scales with bonus damage, so if you pair that with Roar Amplifier, you'll be able to proc like a ton of hits, which will scale more from your bonus damage. Although in open world dungeons, I would have a separate setup, which doesn't have Vampiric Onslaught, so that I can have some sustain since Dark Apostasy essentially removes all your healing skills. I use 2 different skill setups for either open world dungeon grinding or when doing boss dungeon stuff. In my open world dungeon setup, I have Whirling Shield, which got buffed by Dagon Sword, and Counter Barrier, which works best when there are a lot of enemies hitting you. I also don't use Curse Explosion when farming mobs, because it needs most enemies to be cursed for it to work, right? But Touch of Despair can only curse 2 enemies at once. I do have Curse Explosion in my other dungeon setup for more single target damage, and I also don't have Whirling Shield, because it doesn't work very well against bosses. As for the playstyle, you just need to precast your damage buffs first, and then use Obliterating Swamp, Ray of Disaster, and then Slothful Cage in that order so that they proc together at once. This will cause your Roar Amplifier to proc so many times due to having the 3-1 skills up all at once. And then while they're up, you can use whatever skills for even more hits. So that's pretty much it. And on a side note, I don't really have a suitable set of equipment for this build yet, since I don't have enough growth stones. So if you guys have any suggestions, feel free to leave a comment.